Topic number 2, solving linear equations. We're going to start with question 1, one-step equations. In question 1, you're given n divided by 20 equals -2. It's a fraction, it's a division. To undo division, what you got to do is you got to multiply both sides by 20. Or I'm going to multiply the left side by 20 over 1 and multiply my right side by 20. That's how you deal with equations. You do the same thing, same operation, you do to both sides. 20 and 20 here are canceled. So on the left side is just n, and on the right side, -2 times 20 is -40. That's your answer. Question 2. V minus 10 equals 10. Now, in this case, it's subtraction going on here. To undo subtraction, you perform addition. So here's one way of doing it. Plus 10 to both sides. So minus 10 and plus 10 cancel out. V is isolated, which is what we need. 10 plus 10 is 20. V equals 20. I'm going to show you another way of writing it. Option 2 here is V minus 10, and I'm going to have leave some space, equals 10. And what I do is I add 10 to both sides, so you can kind of see it's all written in one line. If V minus 10 equals 10, now it's V minus 10 plus 10 equals 10 plus 10. Same thing, minus 10 and plus 10 cancel each other out. V equals 10 plus 10, which is 20. Whichever way you want to write it is fine. Number 3. 17x equals -119. In this case, you are going to it's a multiplication. So what we got to do is we need to divide both sides by this number that's attached to x, which in our case is 17. So you got to divide both sides by 17. And what you're going to get is 17 and 17 are gone. X equals -119 divided by 17. X equals -7. Question 4. -20 equals x minus 12. Again, we have a subtraction here. So to undo subtraction, you do addition. Plus 12 to both sides. Now, in here, minus 12 plus 12 cancel out. We're going to keep writing down x equals sign, and now on the left side is -20 plus 12. One is negative, one is positive. Therefore, you must subtract them. 20 minus 12 is 8. But since the value of a number with a negative sign, the absolute value of a number with a negative sign was bigger, we need to write it down as -8 equals x. Well, it's kind of tacky, so go ahead and rewrite it as x equals -8. There you go. That's how you would properly write the answer. Number 21. Here we have two-step equations we need to solve, and to solve a two-step equations, you got to do a reverse PEMDAS, meaning addition, subtraction should go first, and then multiplication, division should be undone. Okay, in this case, we have a -3 by itself. So first step should be add 3 to both sides. What that does is it cancels out this 3. So you have m over 2 equals -8 plus 3 is -5. And then what you're going to do is you multiply both by 2. That's your next step. Now, this 2 and this 2 cancel out, so you get m equals negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Final answer. Now, number 22. I mentioned in the previous example that to solve this equations, you have to use PEMDAS in reverse. In this case, you might say, well, let's subtract 6 from both sides. You potentially can do that, but it's not going to help you in any way because this 6 is sort of, there's an invisible parentheses out there, so it's kind of hidden. So, and parentheses should come last, right? Because PEMDAS. So, you gotta multiply and divide first, then you undo the parentheses. So, since you see the 2 in the bottom in the denominator, what you gotta do is you multiply both sides by 2. 2, and since we're dealing with a fraction here, I multiplied by 2 over 1 here. That way, the 2 and a 2 here are canceled. So you get 2 times 6 on the left, which is 12 equals, there's a 2. 12 equals n plus 6. And last step you gotta do is undo the 6's by subtracting 6 from both sides. 12 minus 6 is 6 equals n. But to write it a little bit better, we're gonna do n equals 6. Now it looks very nice, and that's your A+ work. Okay, number 35. 4x minus 7x equals negative 12. We have to combine like terms. This term has x, this term has x. So 4x minus 7x. Think about it as a money in the bank account. $4 is what you have in the bank account, minus $7 is the Starbucks you bought. So 4 minus 7 is negative 3x equals negative 12. And now what we're gonna do is we need to divide both sides by, because there's multiplication, right? We need to divide both sides by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. So these two numbers cancel. X equals negative 12 divided by negative 3 is a positive 4. That's how you do it. Example 36. You have negative 99 equals negative 3 times the quantity 3 plus 6b. Keep in mind, my 6 looks like this little G upside down, and B, I drew in different color because my 6 and a B would kind of blend in, make it look like the same thing. Negative 99 equals, and here we got negative 3 needs to be distributed into this parenthesis. Okay, so now negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 3 times 6b is negative 18b. Again, b will be written down in a different color. Now, we cannot combine negative 9 and negative 18b because they are not like terms. This is a term with a b variable, and this one has no variable. So that needs to be yanked out. To get rid of negative 9 and move it to the other side, you add 9 to each side. And you're going to get negative 9. Negative 99 plus 9 is going to be negative 90 equals negative 18b. Okay, and now what you gotta do is divide both sides by negative 18. Very simple. Divide those by negative 18. Negative 18 and negative 18 are canceled on the right side, leaving just b. Now, negative 90 divided by negative 18, negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 90 divided by 18 is 5. So b equals 5, or 5 equals b rather, or b equals 5. That's how we want to write down our answer. Box your answer and you are done. Number 37. 6 plus 4 times b minus 5 equals 2 times parentheses 2 plus 5b, end of parentheses. Okay, let's start it. First, we're gonna do operation inside the parentheses, which unfortunately we cannot combine nothing inside either of these parentheses. So then we go to step 2, which is distribute this 4 into this parenthesis, and then distribute this 2 into this parenthesis. Okay, and notice how I include this sign here. It's positive 4. If there was a negative, I would have to multiply a negative 4 by whatever is inside the parentheses. So we're going to start with a 6, and 4 times b is plus 4b. 4 times negative 5 is a negative 20. Okay, equals 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 5b is positive 10b. Now I have an equation with a variable on the left side and there's a variable on the right side. So I need to go either way, either put all variables on the left or put all variables on the right. Either way is fine. In this case, I'm going to choose to put variable on a right. So I'm going to put variable to the right, because there's a positive 10 here, and I know that once I move the variable, I'm gonna have to subtract. I'd rather subtract 4 from 10 than 10 from 4. So let me rewrite this here, since I occupy this space with my writing. 6 plus 4b minus 20, I'm just rewriting it, equals 4 plus 10b. Now, since I say variable to the right, I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides, minus 4b. Okay? So, what that means is these two b's are canceled, so it's going to be 6 minus 20 equals 4. Now, 10b minus 4b is plus 6b. Again, my b and a 6 are kind of blending in, so just understand that this is 6b. Now I need to remove the constant minus 4 from both sides. I subtract the 4. This positive and this negative cancel out, so it's going to be 6 minus 20 minus 4 equals 6b. Okay, I can put a sign, 6 times b. Now we need to combine like terms here. 6 minus 20 minus 4. 6 minus 20 is negative 14 minus 4 equals 6b. Now, two negatives, negative and another negative, when you subtract them, basically they turn into even smaller number, aka larger negatives. And I know it's improper in terms of math, but we can just say 14 plus 4 is 18, right? So it's negative 18. It's a smaller number than negative 14. Okay, equals 6b. And now what we're going to do is we need to divide both sides by 6. Okay, divide both sides by 6. So this 6 and this 6 cancel out. And so now negative 18 divided by 6 is negative 3 equals b, or we're going to write down properly, b equals negative 3. Box your answer, you're done. Okay, number 46. Examples 46, 47, and 48 are examples where you will have exactly one solution, infinite solutions, or no solution. One of each will show you exactly one example. Now, let's just go ahead and start solving it. Negative 1 minus 7k equals, nothing we can do on the left side, equals negative 7 times the parentheses. In the parentheses, we get k plus 1. So we can distribute. We can distribute this negative 7 into this parenthesis. Okay? So we're going to rewrite the left side as negative 1 minus 7k equals, because we didn't do anything to it. Minus 7 times k is minus 7k. Because it's a variable, it stays like that. Now, minus 7 times 1 is minus 7. Okay, we're doing really good right now. So let's combine something. Can't combine anything, but we have a variable on the left and a variable on the right. So we need to decide which side we move the variable. It doesn't really matter at this time, so let's move the variable. So put variable to the left. Why not? You can do it to the right, doesn't matter. So how do I do that? If there's a minus 7k, guess what I'm going to do? Plus 7k plus 7k. So you added 7k to both sides. Minus 7k plus 7k, they're gone. Same thing happens on the left. Look, minus 7k and plus 7k, they're gone. So what is left? On the left side is negative 1 equals negative 7. Once you see that, negative 1 equals negative 7, is it true? I'm going to ask you this. True? The answer is no. If it's not true, the answer is no. No solution. That's it. There's no solution to it. Number 47. Negative 1 minus 6v equals 2 times 1 minus 3v minus 3. Same thing. We need to do whatever we can first. On the left, can't do anything. Minus 1 minus 6v equals. Here on the right, we can take this positive 2 and distribute it into this parenthesis. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times negative 3v is minus 6v. Minus 6v because it's minus 3 times 2. And minus 3. Now we're combining like terms, okay? Now we're going to write down combine like terms. And only we can do is we can actually combine 2 and minus 3. Minus 1 minus 6v on the left equals 2 minus 3, which is going to be minus 1 minus 6v. Okay, now we have a variable on the right and a variable on the left. We need to get rid of it. So add 6v to both sides. We move the variable to either side. Minus 6v plus 6v cancel, cancel. Minus 6v plus 6v cancel, cancel. Just like example 46. Things cancel, so what's left on the left? Negative 1 equals negative 1. Is it true? It is true if the answer is true. If you get whatever the expression is to be true, or in this case it's an equation. The answer is infinite solutions. So if you have an answer like 5 equals 5, infinite solutions. If you have 10 equals 10, infinite solutions. 0 equals 0, infinite solutions. You see, you can contrast between a no solution problem where you have a negative 1 equals negative 7, which is obviously not true. And to a infinite solutions means you have a true statement at the end. Now, example 48. You can actually tell right now there's going to be one solution. So, but let's still see how is it going to be a one solution. Minus 5m minus 16 equals minus 7m. Then we distribute this positive 4 into this parenthesis. So it's going to be plus 4m minus, and again, 4m minus 4m times 4 times negative 6 is minus 24. So you're looking at that. Now, combine like terms. I can combine negative 7m and positive 4m on the right. So it's going to be negative 5m plus 16 equals minus 7 plus 4. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Different sign, you subtract. So it's going to be 7 minus 4, which is going to be 3m. Keep the sign of a greater number, which is negative 7 was a negative, right? Was greater. Minus 24. Now, we need to move the variable to either side. I would say let's move variable to the right. Move variable to the right, which means now, where's the variable term? M, right? So plus 5m plus 5m. 5m and 5m here cancel out, so you have 16 equals minus 3 plus 5 is going to be 2m positive minus 24. Now we're down to two-step equation. Very nice. So at this point, I'm going to move the negative 24 away. So it was a negative 24, so we need to add 24 to both sides. And cancel out here, equals 2m. 16 plus 24 is 40. So 40 equals 2m. And now divide both sides by the coefficient of this term, which is 2. To completely get rid of all the variables and isolate all the numbers and isolate the variable. M, 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 equals m, or m equals 20. That's how I want you to write down the answer. There you go. Box it out and check it out. Exactly one solution. So you go from example 46 with no solution to 47 with infinite solutions to 48 with exactly one solution. Okay, examples 55, 56, 57, and 58 are basically multiplication of fractions and integers. In this case, 2 times 2 over 5 is the same thing as 2 over 1 times 2 over 5. Multiply the numerators together, which is going to be 4 over 5. That's it. Done. Number 56. 6 times 2 over 3 is the same thing as 6 over 1 times 2 over 3. And you can go both ways. You can actually go 6 times 2 first, which is going to be 12 over 3. And 12 over 3 we can reduce to make it a 4 over 1, or simply a 4. Okay, that's one of the ways you can do that one. Now, number 57, I'm going to do a little differently. I could do just like number 56, but I choose to do it the other way. So it's 2 over 1 times 3 over 4. And now 2 and 4, since they're both even numbers, I can reduce. I can cancel something out. I can take out a 2 from each side, so from each of them. So 1 is left here and 2 is left here. So the answer is 3 over 2. And that's an acceptable answer. You don't have to bring it to mixed number. Next one, 3 times 1/3. It's 3 over 1 times 1 over 3. And guess what happens? It's the same thing as 3 over 3, which is 1. Last 3 examples. 65, method A. We got 7 times 3x plus 6 divided by 3 equals 7. Step 1 is I'm going to remove this 3 by multiplying both sides by 3. and here is 3 over 1, right? So, because it's a fraction. To get rid of the denominator, you always want to multiply by the denominator. So now 3's are gone here, so on the left I have 7 times 3x plus 6 equals 7 times 3 is 21. Now what I need to do is I need to distribute this 7 into this parentheses. So 7 times 3x is 21x. 7 times positive 6 is plus 6 times 7 is 42 equals 21. Then I'm going to subtract 42 from each side, and 21 minus 42 equals negative 21. So 21x equals negative 21. Then I divide, since this is multiplication, I need to divide by 21 both sides. So 21 over 21 is gone, so it's just only x equals, and then negative 21 over positive 21 is going to be negative 1. X equals negative 1. Okay, in method B, I'm not going to multiply by 3 both sides. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify the numerator by distributing 7 into this parenthesis. So now it's going to be 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 3x is 21x. 7 times 6 is 42 plus 42. All of that is over 3 equals 7. And let me show you a trick. If you see something like this, you can write it as 21x over 3 plus 42 over 3 equals 7. So you can separate that because denominators are the same. Now 21 and 3 here cancel out, so you're looking at 7x plus 42 over 3. If you completely reduce it, I believe it's 14 equals 7. So now you subtract 14 from both sides because you undoing PEMDAS, right? So multiplication comes last, second to last. So for my 14s are gone. 7x equals negative 7. Divide both sides by 7, and you get x equals negative 1. Exactly the same answer as we've gotten doing it by doing it previous way. Okay, last example, number 67. 3 over 4 times 2x plus 5 equals 14. And I wrote here, I don't know if you can see it, can always multiply both sides by the denominator. So if you don't like fractions, you can multiply both sides by the denominator right off the bat. So in the denominator here is a 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4 over 1, by 4, okay? So now guess what? These 4's are gone. So you're looking at 3 times 2x plus 5 equals 14 times 4. Okay, so 14 times 4 equals, 4 times 4 is 16. Remember 1. 4 times 1 is 4. It's 56. Okay, and now what you can do is you can distribute this 3 into the parenthesis here. Okay, so it's going to be 6x plus 15 equals 56. Now, subtract 15 from both sides. We are doing PEMDAS, okay, in reverse. So 6x equals 56 minus 15 is, is 41. Okay, so x equals, we divided by 6 both, so 41 over 6, or 6x equals 6 and 5 over 6. Okay, that's your answer.